We're here at the Field Rocks News Rocksfield podcast presented by the Believe Network and sponsored by Bet Online. And today I want to give a quick recap of the Houston Rockets 99-80 victory over the Los Angeles Lakers in their first Summer League game out in Vegas. And of course, the big news was the first game for Sheppard. And of course, on the Lakers side, most of the talk all night was about Bronny James. But when it came down to it, when you look at the final numbers, Sheppard showed why he was the number 3 overall pick and why the Rockets were so high on him. He started off the game a little bit slow, but he eventually picked it up and led the Rockets in scoring with 23 points. They also had a great game, of course, no surprise, from Cam Whitmore, last year's Summer League MVP, who had a 20-point game along with 10 rebounds. He had a double-double, so he did what he normally does, which is go out there and shoot and score and dominate on the offensive end. But of course, when we're talking about the Houston Rockets, we're talking about Sheppard, and we're talking about his game overall. Like I said, I wanted to give a quick recap of what he did tonight, and also just a little bit also about M.A. Udoka's press interview that he had with ESPN, where he was talking about different things. He was talking about, of course, Sheppard, Jalen Green. He also gave an update on alperensengun and his progress this offseason, some encouraging news with that. So I want to talk about a little bit about that at the end. But of course, right now I want to talk about Sheppard, who, again, like I said, he had 23 points. He was 4-6 from 3. Started off a little bit slow, kind of getting his feet wet, as players like Nate Williams, who also had a good game, and Cam Whitmore kind of took the lead early on. But then Sheppard started to get into it. He hit his first shot of the game. Of course, it was a 3-point shot, a real quick 3-point shot, where the man was coming out at him and he still was easily able to make it. And I think that's kind of what stands out about Sheppard, is not only that he can make the three, of course, it's the fact that he can get that shot off really quick, which can translate to the NBA. Because we know a lot of times with Summer League, a lot of this stuff is not going to translate to the NBA. We saw a lot of players have great Summer Leagues and they don't even make an NBA team. But you can kind of take parts of each player's games and say, okay, this can translate. And with Sheppard, is his quick shot. It's the fact that he doesn't bring the ball down that much, that he shoots all in one motion. It's a smooth shot, it's a quick shot, something you want to see in the NBA, because we know in college, you have a lot more space, you have a lot more room. Defenders are slower to rotate. NBA, it's a different story, even though I know people say the NBA defense isn't what it used to be, but it's still, you got a lot quicker players, a lot taller players. You have to be able to get your shot off quickly, and that's what Sheppard did on his first shot. And then from there, he started to heat up. He had this great move where he pump faked the defender, got him off his feet like he was about to shoot the three, drove to the basket with a little float or something. I think he's going to really have to develop in the next level, because occasionally he can play above the rim, but it's not going to be easy for him to do on a consistent basis. So he's definitely going to need that floater a la Fred VanVleet. It seemed like once he did that play, the Rockets bench went crazy, and that's when he really got comfortable. He hit a couple more threes after that. Also, some really good defense as well, something that may not even show up in the box scores, but he actually played some really good defense at times. One time he was called for a foul, even though it didn't really look like a foul. But he was playing really good defense on the other end. He had a couple of great passes as well. One that led to a three, another one that led to a Cam Whitmore dunk. And then he hit a couple of mid-range shots. So he really started to get comfortable. Something that I think you're really going to see when the Rockets get into training camp and into, of course, preseason and regular season. That's where he's really going to make his mark. It's in that mid-range and also, of course, a three-pointer. But he's going to have to learn to be able to pump fake like he did tonight, pump fake and get to that mid-range, because teams are going to start running him off the three-point line. So it was really good to see him kind of, show all kind of facets of his game. He had a nice dunk. He had the mid-range shot. He had the three-point shot. He had the nice defense, he had the nice passing. And if he can continue to develop the passing part of it, then like I was saying in previous podcasts, that's where you're going to see him kind of start to maybe take on that backup point guard role and move Armin more to the forward position, where that's where he kind of took off last season when Sengun got hurt and he moved over to the power forward, where Jabari moved to the center position. And I think that's what we'll see as the season goes on and Reed gets more comfortable handling the ball, because he's a smart player. He knows how to play the game. His parents, like we said before, both played at Kentucky. They were both big-time stars at Kentucky. So he has basketball in his blood. So he knows how to run a team. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular. He doesn't have to be Chris Paul out there with the basketball. He just has to be able to run the team and not turn the ball over. and he doesn't have to do it in long stretches because he's going to be playing backup point guard. And we know Fred VanVleet played 30 plus minutes a game last season. So Reed's not going to play a lot at the backup point guard position because he's also going to be probably playing some shooting guard as well. So his ability to be able to at least play, some backup point guard, I think that'll free up our man to kind of move over to that forward position most of the time. But we can also see our man and Reed on the court at the same time, where our man is running the team, and then Reed is coming off of picks. Because yes, Reed isn't as athletic as our man, but our man is not as great of a shooter as Reed. So they kind of complement each other. So we can see that combination a lot. But again, like I said, tonight, you don't ever want to overreact with summer league games, even though it worked out very well for Cam Whitmore, who was the MVP last year, and then took that into the season and continued it throughout the season. But like I said, you don't ever want to overreact to summer league games because a lot of the people he's going up against, including Bronny James, who had a okay game but nothing special. Actually, Dawson Connect was actually their best player tonight. Their 17th overall pick. But a lot of players you're playing against won't even make the league. They'll probably end up in the G League, which is nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't, like I said, always translate to the NBA. So it was good to see Reed Sheppard out there and being able to show all facets of his game. And I think even more as the summer league goes on, he's going to get more comfortable. And I think the Rockets also, like they did last year with Jabari Smith and Cam Whitmore, they shut them down early. And I think they're going to probably do that again with Cam Whitmore this year. And then that's going to give Reed Sheppard even more opportunities to kind of handle the ball, because we know that Cam Whitmore is going to get his shots up. Even Griffin, who they traded from and got from the Hawks for the 44th overall pick, he's going to get his shots up. Nate Williams is going to get shots up. So once Cam Whitmore kind of takes a back seat, and I seriously doubt he's going to play every single game, then we'll see Reed Sheppard being able to even get more opportunities out on the court. Another thing I wanted to talk about also is, like I said, Cam Whitmore's offense, but also his defense. Something we saw last year where, yes, and Ime even mentioned that he has to work on his overall defense. But as far as him being able to anticipate and play the passing lanes, we saw several times tonight where he almost had a steal earlier in the game and barely missed out on it. He got one at the end of the half where he jumped the pass and anticipated and got the dunk right at the end of the half. And that's something he did a lot last season. And that's something I think we're going to continue to see this season as well. And if he can improve, I think he can. He has all the physical traits to be able to be a really good defender, at least a plus defender, where he's able to go out there and not be a liability on defense. And then you add in the fact that he's able to play the passing lanes, and then you got him in the fast break in the open court. And that's just, we already know what's going to happen with that. It's almost pretty much automatic 2 points or a highlight play. It was really good to see him continue to work on his defense. And I think if he can continue to improve his one-on-one defense, I think you're going to start to see a player that probably may have the highest ceiling of anybody only out of the young guys. And I know it's kind of hard to say, but just looking at his overall talent, man, the sky's the limit for Cam Whitmore. Also, like I said, Ime Udoka spoke to the broadcast team during the game. He talked about Jalen Green and how he started off slow, but eventually he picked it up at the end of the year, as we all saw, and how he was a big reason why the Rockets won 11 games in a row. Of course, he talked about Reed Sheppard, same things he sort of talked about during the press conference where he was talking about how his parents instilled in him that you can't be soft, you have to be the toughest on the court. So we definitely saw that again tonight from Reed Sheppard, but he also talked about Alperen, and they talked about his injury and how he's recovering. And Ime said that if there was a play-in game last year, he actually would have played. So that tells you how ahead of schedule he already was and how hard he talked about how hard he's been working this offseason. He also mentioned that he loved what he saw as far as his progress, and that he's continued to progress at a rate that they really love within the Rockets organization. And like I said, you saw there where he was talking about Sengun and what he brings to the team and how he's progressed this offseason. He's definitely going to be ready for training camp. He's going to be definitely ready for the season to start. So we're probably going to see an improved Sengun because he's been able to just work on his strength and conditioning. And also another thing he talked about, speaking of strength and conditioning, he talked about Jabari Smith and how he's added muscle this offseason, because sometimes the physical toll, it did wear on him last year. And him being still 19, 20 years old, going against grown men, that's not a big surprise. But he did say he packed on some pounds, some muscle this year. So we'll be able to see that this upcoming season, if that'll help him be able to get down in low posts in the paint, and bang with some of these bigger guys. So that's another interesting thing that Ma brought up during the broadcast. But overall, he had to be happy with the Rockets win. They pretty much dominated from the second quarter on. The Lakers really didn't get any closer in the second half than probably 15, 16 points, and the Rockets were able to keep them at arm's length. So all in all, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than this. Reed Sheppard had a really great game, showed exactly why the Rockets were so high on him, why they thought he was the #1 overall prospect. Cam Whitmore continued to do what Cam Whitmore does, which is dominate on the offensive end, and also play some really good defense at times. You also saw some things from some other players, like Nate Williams continued to impress. Unfortunately with him, it's probably more of a numbers game, but we'll probably see him again with the Vipers. And you never know what happens when injuries happen during the year, if he ever get a chance. But he's definitely somebody that's always kind of stood out the last couple of years, and it will be really interesting if he ever actually gets some real playing time on the court. I mean, of course, they have some other players. Like I said, Griffin, he might be back and forth between the G League, because, again, it's a numbers game with the Rockets. But, overall, those are kind of the main players that, everybody's going to be paying attention to. Of course, Nate Hinton also has some time, so it's good to see him out there on the court as well. But the people I mentioned before are kind of the main guys, especially, like I said, Reed, Cam, and, of course, Griffin, who, like I said, is going to kind of bounce back and forth between the G League and the Rockets, probably the 11th, 12th man on the bench. So overall, like I said, a good day one from the Rockets, a good game one. Of course, they'll be playing a few more games, and if they continue to win, maybe they'll go on to play like they did last year, where they got all the way to the semifinals against at the very end. So we'll see how it all plays out, and we'll continue to watch the Rockets throughout this off season, the summer league. And like I said, you never want to take too much from these summer league games. You kind of just want to watch how they individually play, and not necessarily the results, because it is kind of a and one up and down, not a lot of structure going on. But for Rockets fan, it has to be encouraging to go out there and see Reed Sheppard look real comfortable on the court and not look scared at all. So we'll continue to see how that plays off. And let me know down in the comments, what do you think about Reed Sheppard's first game? Do you think this is kind of a sign of things to come for Reed Sheppard, where he's going to be right out the gate, sort of kind of taking off this upcoming season and not really have any downtime? Let me know what you think about his performance. Let me know what you think about Cam Whitmore's performance. What do you expect from him this season? And also let me know, were you encouraged by some of the things you heard about Alperensengun this offseason, how he's progressing after his major injury last year? So let me know down in the comments. Like I said, appreciate the support. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button, and continue to support the channel, because, like I always say, that helps us with the algorithm and get our message and get our channel out there to the masses. So again, we appreciate all the support we've already gotten, and make sure you check out the next episode of the Rocket Fuel Podcast.